How did you hurt your knee?
Trying to run. Like, running is just the worst.
It's so
like,
bad for your knees, actually.
It really is. And I was trying to get fit, and I was doing my Couch to 5K app, and I was on week 4, and I was killing it, and then I finally paid for it, and then boom, knee, hip. I think it's the sitting as well. So, you know, this is the thing about working in the office, is like you're sitting a lot of the time. And they do have standing desks, which is great. I just don't feel like I can work properly standing.
It's hard, yeah.
Yeah, it feels like you're doing two things at once.
Yeah, I'm okay if I'm on a meeting. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so that's grand. Like, standing and just like, you know, it's fine. But like, if I'm really into something, like a spreadsheet or whatever, then
you have to
I prefer to be sitting. Yeah,
it's so weird.
I know.
But I just have to
like
train myself.
Concentrate better when I'm.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hunched over.
I know. Like, I have to stop. So I stood nearly all day yesterday. I stood on the subway all the way from Union to Young and Shepherd.
Core workout.
Just, you know, because like I'd be sitting on the streetcar to Union, then the subway to Young and Shepherd, and it's like an hour sitting to go in and sit some more. And, you know, the hips don't lie. You know, they're sore.
I don't think that's what Shakira meant, but it's true.
She was sick of being in the office and sitting at the desk all day. Well, God, maybe we've mistaken the true meaning of that song.
Maybe we have. Maybe she was trying to give us health advice this whole time.
Maybe. I know. She seems fit and like looking well. So yeah. So anyway, so I have to practice more standing at the desk, and I've been stretching and drinking loads of water and just hoping to God that it gets better. But honestly, it's just one thing after another. Like, one thing gets better, another thing pops out, you know.
Yeah. Well, you're an athlete.
Oh, look, I know. You can only do so much, and then shit happens.
Yeah.
So I'd be a much better athlete if I didn't get injured all the time. So.
Athletes do get injured often. It's just when you're like getting paid for it, you also have physiotherapists and all sorts that are there, and like specific diets and like conditioning and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah.
I unfortunately do not have all of that.
What are you doing? I know. You need like to fill your bathtub with ice so you can get into it afterwards.
I'd love to do an ice bath, actually, but also the idea of it terrifies me. You've done it before, haven't you?
Ice plunges, yeah.
Ice plunges.
Yeah, love an ice plunge. I've never just gotten into a thing of ice cubes, but like, do you know, into like ice plunges after saunas and stuff is lovely.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, it's so nice.
You'd need a lot of trays of ice. God, it'd be
a little too. Yeah, I don't think I could. You'd have to go out and buy loads of bags.
Loads of ice. Yeah. And apparently, it's really good for your like, psyche as well.
Yeah.
Like doing ice plunges and
very refreshing in your brain.
Yeah. I think the idea, when I was reading about it, was that you're making yourself extremely uncomfortable. So it gives you better, capacity to deal with other things that are uncomfortable because you're forcing yourself through it.
Interesting.
So I've heard a lot of like really successful people do like cold showers in the morning or ice showers in the morning just to kind of really like wake them up, and then, you know, you're ready for anything, because that was horrendous.
So. I thought it was just a good adrenaline rush.
Well, that too. Yeah. Because then you're like, I'm ready to go. Like, you know. So I have to try something like that. But anyway,
I don't do it in the winter because I'm too cold and the hot shower is too nice. But like, I normally, from around now, like once it starts getting warm, I normally like finish my shower cold.
Yeah.
So like I'll do all this stuff and then I'll turn it cold and I'll sit in it and I'll stand in it cold for a few minutes.
Better for your hair too after you wash it.
Good for your hair. Yeah, good for your hair. And honestly, it feels lovely.
Yeah, it does actually.
Neil hates it. Like Neil, like try and recommend it, and his shower is like you might as well pour like a boiling kettle over him. Like I cannot, like I can't. It's way too hot. Whereas I like mine a little bit more.
Yeah, it's usually like men who like the colder showers and women like really hot ones.
Oh yeah, no, I can't. It's too hot. Too hot for me. So I don't like when I turn it down cold. Then I guess I enjoy that more. Because I don't cope with being too hot very well. Like I really don't cope. I get angry. And even like in saunas and stuff, like saunas I can handle better. I like a sauna, but like a long time to handle a steam room, I feel like I can't breathe. Like I find it too overwhelmingly hot, which is probably why I really enjoy then going from like a sauna into like a nice cold plunge.
Yeah, that's true.
Contrast.
Yeah. Do you ever do cryotherapy?
No.
It's like where you get into this.
Seems like walking into a freezer for no reason, you know?
Yeah, it is. You pretty much go into a thing and they close you in, and they give you like mittens and slippers and stuff, so your digits don't freeze off. But it is kind of like an ice bath, but it's like a really intense 3 minutes of cold, which I've tried again for injuries too, but it didn't seem to work. So anyway, that was interesting, very uncomfortable. And they have to stay in the room with you and talk to you while you're in the machine to try and distract you, and so nothing goes wrong. So they're like, "So how's your day going?" And I'm like, "Not great."
Like, right now, not good. Not good.
No. I'm like, I know they are interested. They're just trying to distract me. And they're like, "Oh, so where are you from?" I'm like, "Oh my God, just kill me."
There's like been a big resurgence of like a sauna culture in Ireland now. With saunas popping up everywhere and plunges. I did loads last summer, and honestly, lake. Beautiful at the lake. Yeah, go for sauna into Lough and then out again. But I was reading an article recently that actually there's like a real like old like stone like Newgrange old history of like sweat houses in Ireland, and there are actually still loads of them all over the country that still exist.
Never heard of that.
So they'd like basically little domes where they would light fires inside that would heat up the stones, because they'd be made of stone. And then they take out the fire and you'd go in and sit in it, and the stones would be radiating heat. And sometimes they'd turf you into it, like literally like put turf up to close the door, and then you'd get out and get into the river or whatever body of water is beside it. Yeah.
Wow. So our ancestors were into this too.
They were into it, yeah. Well, sure, all the Nordics are, like, they're massive sauna culture, as seen by the absolutely excellent Eurovision song this year, by the way.
Oh God, which one?
Bastu from Sweden.
Oh, from Sweden.
They were a Finnish band from Sweden, but their whole song is just about don't stress, get in a sauna. It's so great. I'm not going to sing it, but it's really, really good.
A few bars.
Unfortunately, didn't win, but
is Eurovision over?
Yeah, it was on this weekend.
Oh yeah, I didn't know whether it was like a run up to it or if it was the actual event. Who won?
Yeah, Austria.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, it was fine. They saved Eurovision because somebody else almost won, probably through some amount of televoter fraud. And there's a whole controversy about it. And if they had won, I think everybody would have boycotted Eurovision. There would have been an absolute war. There would have been war. Yeah, because they still shouldn't even be in it. They should have been kicked out, like Russia had been kicked out. But here we are. They are a massive sponsor of it. So
who was it? Sorry, who was the second?
Israel.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really
interesting.
Bad. Like, they claim that, like, the Irish audience televote gave them 12 points. Like, that's apparently, and we know that's not true. So they're messing with the televotes.
Aren't sure Israel's so good at cybersecurity and tech and stuff.
Oh yeah. Like walking a park for them to just set up
rig
the ends
and
bots and call in over and over again. Yeah.
Wow.
So easy to do that, but it's
my God.
So it was literally down to the very last vote that was called in. Israel was leading. Very last vote that was called in, and then Austria tipped above them, and they.
Oh my God.
Saved Eurovision from an absolute meltdown, because that would have been really, really bad. And I know there's loads of stuff you should go look. There's loads of the Spain broadcaster is like releasing loads of documents from the European broadcaster about last year's complaints over Israel, like intimidating other contestants, which they were doing, and like it's like there's like drama going on, and nobody really knows why the EBU still keeps them in. So there's a lot of questions around why they're still allowed to compete. But
okay.
Anyway,
how did Ireland do?
They didn't qualify. And I wouldn't mind.
We don't want to.
Such a Eurovision pop song, like it was great. But
I know. I feel like people are like, you've won it too many times. You don't deserve it anymore.
I don't know what it is. Like it was like, I actually thought, oh yeah, that's a great Eurovision song. Like, and we don't often put in a great Eurovision song, but it was actually a great Eurovision
better than Dustin the Turkey.
Better than Dustin. Although, do you know what? I think if we put in Dustin the Turkey these days, we would actually qualify and get pretty far. There's a lot more room for people to do something like funny and interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. You should look. I'll send you the Swedish. I'll send you the Swedish entry. Just speaking of saunas. Anyway, I sent you Swedish entries. It's very, very funny. But yeah, sauna.
Okay. I have a sauna in my building actually. I never use it, so I might go down and do that.
Yeah.
I'm trying everything now. Honestly, I'm trying to drink 3 liters of water a day. It's very difficult. It's a lot.
Tea counts.
Tea.
I mean, if you're not overloading it with milk and sugar, like flavored water.
Yeah, that's true. I know my dad always says that. Like, it's just because they're mixed doesn't mean like you're not getting the water from it.
Yeah, you're still getting the hydration from tea.
It doesn't seem right though that if you're not drinking pure water. But I've never been a water drinker at all. Like I could have gone days without drinking water. But I had coffee and tea, of course, like, some liquid.
Yeah.
But I'm really trying, because a girl in work, she drinks 3 liters of water a day, and like she swears by it or whatever. So I'm like, okay.
People swear by all
sorts of stuff. I know. It's one thing I've never done though. So I'm like, look, I'll give it a go.
Oh yeah, if you've never
see what happens. Yeah. So anyway, Welcome to A Word with Yourself.
Where we're talking about sauna.
Once again, off on a tangent before it even begins.
Yeah,
but look,
about the Eurovision and
saunas.
Sweden's absolutely excellent entry that got robbed.
Oh God, I feel like Sweden, like ABBA, come on, they're just always good.
Great, yeah.
It just,
they were worried about having to host it again.
Oh God, it's expensive.
They were worried. It's so expensive, yeah. Because they hosted it like last year.
Oh my God.
So yeah,
wow.
It's but yeah, great song. Should have won. Didn't win.
Yeah.
But
at least Austria won.
Forever remembered. Yes,
in your heart.
Austria won. Sweet, yeah. Sweden are my. They do have my heart this year for Eurovision.
Oh my God, the Eurovision has come out with some good songs like Loreen, that Euphoria song, so good.
Great stuff. Yeah.
Oh my God.
This is you were like, oh, I can't watch Eurovision, it's too cringe, and I'm like, why do you hate joy in your life? It's just such a good time. Myself and a friend of mine, I keep introducing Canadians to it, and everybody loves it. By the way, they think it's great. And we played a drinking game, of course.
Okay.
And just got pleasantly day drunk, because over here it starts at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, because obviously it's on, Central European time, and so it's great. So we just sat down with a big cheese board and drinks and just got pleasantly drunk probably by about halfway through.
Got no points.
That was one of them, and the other one is England gets 12 points.
Oh wow!
It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's only one or the other. There's no in between.
Strobe lights, costume change, smoke machine, all that kind of all of those cliches. There was a lot of those in it. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it's good.
Just one big cliche.
Yeah, or the judging countries, when they phone in their votes, if they're milking it too much, the way some of them are like chatting, you're like, just tell us what your points are.
Yeah,
please.
You don't care about the background and the points, just give us the points already.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Nicky Byrne was on there for us, a little bit of Irish at the beginning.
No way.
Yeah, he always does it.
Does he?
Moment. Yeah, I don't know how he's involved or what, but the last few years I've seen it, Nicky Byrne has always turned up to give the Ireland votes.
Okay, well, who was it before? No, Jerry Ryan hosted it.
Did he?
The year it was in Ireland. It was the year of Riverdance.
Oh my God. Do you know how long ago that was?
1994.
Do you want to know? Yeah.
Yeah, 31 years. No.
31 years.
Oh my God, I was like, no, I'm only 26. No. Yeah, I remember it too.
I remember it as well, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was a point in time that no one will forget. It was. I watched that anyway. Often. I watch it.
It was great. It was a moment.
It was peak Ireland, I think. I don't know. Like it was peak. So good. I might watch it after this actually. But look.
Anyway, so what were we going to talk about today? Maybe we should have just talked about the Eurovision. That would have been great.
I know.
And how to convince the CBC to get involved.
I feel like they're going to have to. It's growing legs over here and in America, definitely, just for the pure like kitsch, just like the cheesiness of it all. And
amazing.
Just, I know, as you said, it's like a good time. It's
a great time.
A mood booster. Yeah. But anyway.
Little bit. If Australia can be in it, we can get Canada in it. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion, and we'll work on it.
When is it going to be like worldview? Like it's Eurovision now, but Australia's in it. Who else is in it that isn't in Europe?
Israel.
Oh yeah, like that's so random. Like why?
Oh, there's many reasons I don't think we can go into, and let's not.
No, we don't want to get censored or anything. Anyway. So work things. We want to talk about. Yeah. Well, we already touched on the standing in work, which is a pain in the arse. But I'm trying to do that at home too. So working remote as well, trying to stand. But I'm sitting right now because I need to concentrate. I don't think I could record. Yeah. I need to. I do. Yeah. I'm locked in. And what are your thoughts on camera on, camera off in the office when you're on a call?
That's interesting. So I think it depends.
That's exactly what I've got written down. I have three things written down, and like one of them is just like can be either. Like
I think if you're in a meeting where you are expected to engage in some way, so if you think at some point you might talk, or it's a small enough group that someone really wants to like you are being specifically invited for you, then yes, you should have your camera on. I think that, there's, we've talked about being in the office, being at home. I think that being on camera is just kind of like a basic thing on that from remote working, because it just helps with connection and stuff. And honestly, I think it's polite.
Mm-hmm.
We want to get down to
Yeah.
it. I know politeness is subjective, but I think that like if I invite someone, like a few people that I specifically want to talk to about a topic or like brainstorm something, or especially a one-on-one,
Oh God, yeah.
then I would hope the cameras would be on, because I feel like I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking to a person, like we're having a
Mm-hmm.
conversation.
Yeah.
If it's like a presentation and you're just like, hey, come, I'm going to present this thing, or it's a big town hall, or like you're kind of invited maybe as part of your team to like observe
Mm-hmm.
something.
Mm-hmm.
Not only do I think you can have your camera off, I actually think sometimes it's actually almost better, because if
Yeah, less
someone's
distracting.
presenting something and they're, yeah, less distracting. Exactly.
Yeah.
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 And
Mm-hmm.
so that's why I think it depends.
Yeah, it
So
does. On the situation and the context,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
guess if you apply it to real life, right? So like sometimes you might go and be like an audience member,
Mm.
right? Nobody cares what you look like. You're normally in the dark anyway. You're just sitting in a sea of people.
Mm-hmm.
If it's that kind of situation, but virtually, leave your camera off. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
But if it's like, no, you're invited into a meeting room with like four other people and you're discussing a topic,
Yeah.
leave your
Yeah.
camera on. So you can
Yeah.
almost like equate it to real life scenarios and then apply
Mm-hmm.
accordingly.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I definitely agree. I had similar things written down. There was another situation, like operational calls that have got like loads of people in them. So like we do one where it's just kind of like a review of like things to coming up for the week, and there's like 15 to 20 people on the call, and it happens every week, and it's very, again, very
Formulaic.
yeah, formulaic. Yeah. So like I'm totally okay with everybody being off camera on those, because it lasts
Yeah.
like 10-15 minutes, blah blah blah. It's just like, let's get it out of the way, let's get it done.
Yeah.
And then there's other ones where, say, you've got a project, that you're doing, or you're meeting with people to discuss things, like you said, more of a kind of focused thing for the group, and you kind of want people's input. They should probably be on camera, like a smaller group. And then what was the other one? Large group calls, yeah, operational. So again, the context really.
Context.
I mean, I'd love to be off the camera all the time. I'd love no one to see me, but it's just there's no face, and it's inhuman sometimes.
Yeah, it's a little too disconnected, I think. And I think one of like working from home is like the benefits you get from working from home, being on camera for those kind of calls, like it shouldn't be a tall ask. You know?
Exactly right.
Because there is, and this kind of leads into like we want to talk about maybe adulting at work. Because and this isn't talking about pandemic working from home, because a lot of people had to work from home, like in home environments that weren't necessarily conducive to working. But I do believe that like if you want to be working from home and working remotely, you should have a setup that enables you to be able to do your work, to have a quiet place that, whatever that looks like, whether it is just like a little like corner in the room or a whole separate, whatever that looks like. To be able to do that. And so you should be able to go on camera and not necessarily be distracted. Now, that I recognize there's a little bit of privilege in being able to say that, but like in the best case scenario, because obviously conscious of some people are like, well, I can't go on camera because I've got like family in the background. And it's like, well, if that's the case, like possibly remote working isn't for you.
Yeah.
Because you're not set up to be able to do it to like it's best, like to be most effective at it. Yeah, and so I think if you don't have a scenario that you're able to work from home, then office work is probably more
remote working.
Yeah. Like it'd be better for you to look for jobs that are in office. As much as possible, right?
Yeah.
Because the thing is, if you're doing hybrid work and you're only working from home like 1 or 2 days a week, then I think it's fine, because a lot of the time you can batch your work so that all of your heads down work and your focus work and your flow work is done at home. And that's kind of okay, because then like, you see people on the days you're in the office, and the kind of brainstorming meetings and stuff would likely happen in office anyway.
Yeah, you have that FaceTime with
so
people.
kind of hybrid's like a little bit different, I think. But if you are 100% working from home, I think that it is expected that you do show your face. Literally.
Yeah. Because it's hard. It is hard to build relationships and things when you're fully remote. But being on camera and being able to chat with people, face to face, really does really help. And if you have the luxury of being remote, like, because a lot of places aren't doing it anymore, it's only a little thing really to be on camera. Because if you were in the office, people will be seeing you all the time anyway. So it's not that huge of a thing. And as you said, if you are set up, if your job is remote, you should probably have an area where you can go that's quiet, or else you're just not set up to work from home. So I mean, there's some days I definitely don't want to go on camera because I haven't done my hair or makeup. But also then if I was going in the office, I would have had to have done my hair and makeup. So that's my like laziness, or anything where I didn't have the time, or didn't give myself the time to get ready to be on camera, even though I knew I would be. But yeah, I know there's loads of people I've been on meetings with who just never put their camera on, and it's kind of, I don't know,
It's rude.
it
feels rude.
It does feel a bit rude if everybody else is on camera. But look, this is office etiquette again.
It is, and I also think it like leans into what the reality is of workplaces versus kind of what ideally we like to think it should be.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to think, hey, we should be able to like work like robots, not need to have FaceTime, just get our work done and like move on, and everything works perfectly and everybody handles things perfectly and tasks get delegated perfectly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's a very idealistic view. And like, it's a great thing to try and be able to work towards because, of course, efficiency and productivity are very noble efforts, right? And that's great. However, like, it's just not realistic.
The human element just doesn't allow that to happen.
You cannot remove it. Like, as much as you want to, you cannot remove the need to build relationships in a workplace, right? In order to be able to work better with people, to be able to brainstorm with people, to build trust with people when like stuff goes wrong, like, and all of this kind of stuff. You can't really remove that relationship building from workplaces. And so if that's the case, then if you're working remotely, showing up on camera, you know, for like one-on-ones and those kind of like what we already talked about, it shouldn't be a tall order, and also is necessary if you want to build those good relationships, right, with people. That's because that's just the reality
of it is.
Yeah.
We'd like it to be the other way. It just is.
I remember as like a teenager, you know, when you're like this super edgy teenager and thinking like
super edgy teenager.
I was in my head. Obviously, I actually wasn't because I was such like
you're probably more edgy than I was.
But like, yeah, little edgy teenager. I remember being thinking like, oh God, like small talk is so stupid. Like, why do people do small talk? It's like, it just doesn't mean anything, and like, it's not, you know, like, why don't we talk about something important? Like, so that edginess. And then, you know, over time, it's like, but the small talk serves a purpose to just kind of relate to people and like make little like micro connections with people that might turn into something bigger over time. Yeah. Like, it's a social construct, sure, but like, it's a useful social construct. And it puts people at ease, and being good at it is such a skill. Yeah. Such a skill.
I think Irish people are very good at small talk.
We're kind of forced to be, aren't we? We love talking about the weather.
There's not a moment goes by I'm not thinking about talking about the weather.
My God, and they've had fine weather. Did you hear? Like a month of sun over there.
I know. My mom and dad were on FaceTime earlier, and the sun was splitting the rocks. It was, yeah.
So yeah, we are very good at it because I think we're very social. We're a very socially connected culture.
Yeah.
You know, so we know, get very good at it. Yeah. It's like when I talk to other people, I'm like, listen, I'm not naturally an extrovert. Like, I am introverted by nature, but I'm very well trained socially. Oh my God, that's kind of how I describe what growing up. I've been well trained socially. So you put me in a social situation, great time. Have a great time, will enjoy myself, will social butterfly it out, but like, that's not my natural inclination.
I know, and people have a tendency to think you're an extrovert because you're able to do that. But I think of myself as an introvert as well, you know, like, I'll avoid people at all costs. But like, if I'm in the situation where I have to, you know, give it all, I will, you know. So, but it's exhausting. It really is exhausting.
Yeah, my God. Like, I need time to rest afterwards and recuperate from that.
Yeah. I mean, you need small talk so much, especially when you're in person in the office, because
you do
the scenario, you're meeting people that you don't even work with, you don't really know, you're in the kitchen, you're kind of like and it's so awkward if it's somebody who's not good at small talk, and it's just, oh my God, you know, and then I just keep talking until I can get out of there.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's about like breaking the ice when like opportunistically, so that later when you have an ask of somebody, you've already broken the initial ice, and so it's easier to approach them, right? Like, it does serve a function. It's not just nice, it serves a function, and it puts people at ease, you know, all of those kind of things. And so I do think it's important. So that relationship building is necessary in spite of, and you know, because like, sure, on a bad day, I think to myself, I'm going to work from home forever. I'm never going to see anybody ever again. Like, don't talk to me. But like, that's just not how the workplace works. And also, it's not actually good for you either. It's really not good.
Oh my
it's very
God.
Isolating.
Yeah. Imagine never being on camera and never seeing people's faces and just like working and talking to a voice out of the thing. And it's just, it's not good for your mental health, really, just to be talking to a screen or, you know, not have any human interaction, really.
Remember, like, at a previous place I'd worked, just the nature of what I was doing, I basically had almost back-to-back video calls all day, every day. Like it was kind of going from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting. And I remember like in the evenings, I'd be like, someone phoned me from like, I don't know, probably family or somebody. And I'm like, I'm just wrecked. Like, I just don't think I can deal with like socializing. And they'd be like, but don't you work from home? Like, does it not get lonely? I'm like, don't you? I'm talking to people face to face for like 8-9 hours a day, every single day. I just want to sit in silence.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And at least in the office you can get up and walk around, like you'll go for a coffee, blah blah. You'll do that at home as well, but if you're constantly just like back-to-back meetings on your computer, you're in one place, you don't have an excuse to, like, like, oh, let's take a 5 minute, let's go grab a coffee together or something like that, where you can just kind of like break it up a little bit, which is good about the office as well.
It is good about the office,
yeah.
So but it's like it is socializing, right? Like it is very social if you are having those kind of engagements. So there's a balance in there somewhere.
There is,
not
yeah.
That.
That's what everything we say. Oh, sure, look, it's a balance.
Yeah. And this is kind of where I sometimes like, again, you take all sorts, but like the personalities sometimes that come into offices or virtually or whatever, who not only, I mean, the people who struggle maybe socially, that's one thing, because that's just like you put them at ease and you try and just, kind of help them along, and that's kind of fine. That's fine. Like, you can deal with that. But it's the ones that obviously don't want to. Or just like
not making an effort,
incapable.
Like, come on, you have
sometimes
to put a certain
want
amount
to
of
just
effort
shake them and be like, you're damaging your reputation. Because like part of, and I think which is and it's widely discussed that it's underrepresented and undervalued, but like soft skills in a company are incredibly important. Soft skills in your work are incredibly important, and one of those soft skills are like being able to connect and get along with people, because you never know what work situation you have, like a project or whatever it is, like that you suddenly are thrown in with people. The ability to be able to like connect with those people, like make some small talk, right? Like figure out what you're going to do and do it without tension, and like do it so that it's easy and people are getting along. That's a really great skill to have. And it kind of starts with like being able to say hi over making a cup of coffee in the kitchen, or being able to turn on your camera and just like chit chat at the beginning of a meeting or the end of a meeting or whatever that looks like. It does start there. And so like I wonder if people just don't make those connections, right? That it is kind of
value in it.
Yeah, it's all those small little things that like help you do that and help you be seen as someone who has great soft skills, right? And so I don't know. There's
no, they are. You can tell when people. So I've met a lot of people in offices who aren't very good at small talk, kind of give like abrupt answers or come off a little bit rude, and then later on they'll need something from you, and their whole demeanor will change. It'll be like, hi. And then you're like, what? Like, you weren't very friendly, like when I said hello to you, like, how's your day or whatever. And so they don't connect that either, that there's some kind of like authenticity that's needed, in your interactions with people too. So if you're acting one way when they don't need something and then acting another way when you need something, it just doesn't give people a lot of trust in you as a co-worker or as a person, really. And so, I've come across that a lot, and it's very confusing for people as well, because you're like, I don't know what this person's about. Like, are they rude? Are they nice? But you can tell definitely when somebody is only being nice to get something. But as you said, having the small talk, being able to make connections, like, builds that trust. And then if you have to ask for something, you're not coming across as disingenuous when you're messaging somebody. Like, that's who you are. You're like, hey, like, great to talk to you yesterday or whatever, can you help me with something? It just changes the whole aspect of the interaction with people, which is important, as we said.
That is a good point. Like, if like that authenticity in the workplace, we talked about that before, like, what does that even mean? But I think that's kind of what it is. It's about generating trust. And so that people trust that you need it, that you're not going to take advantage of your time, that all of those little things that you kind of need. And if you are distrustful of somebody because they've kind of been inauthentic in their interactions with you, or been like different ways, then you're going to question stuff about them.
And being authentic doesn't necessarily mean being nice. Like, if somebody's very short but like they're not rude, but like they don't have a lot to say or whatever, but straightforward, but like respectfully, and then they message you being straightforward and respectfully, then that's fine. It tracks with their personality. You're like, okay, that's them. They're not just trying to get something and being fake nice about it, which happens a lot. And people seem to think they're pulling the wool over your eyes. They're like, okay, I'll be really nice to them. Blah, blah,
Like,
blah.
you're not that slick.
Yeah, and you wouldn't believe the amount of people that flip flop between like being rude and being nice when they want something. It's like, do you not understand? Like, we had an interaction yesterday where you were like not this person, and then today you're a totally different, friendly person.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, comes back to psychology in the workplace, all of it. My God, I just love it.
Okay, so onto other other remote etiquette. And actually, this is in the office as well, because everybody uses Slack or Teams or something to communicate.
Oh yeah.
This is kind of where like you have to use your common sense a little bit to consider how these interactions change once you're digital and virtual, right? And that is, don't message me and just say hi.
Maybe they just want to say hello.
They never just want to say hello.
No, it's never been the case.
And when they do, it's normally like that is normally followed up with like, oh my God, like tell me about that thing that you were talking about, or like I haven't spoken to you in ages and I just want to catch up. Like normally the just wanting to say hi group, which I do also like, by the way, is like, oh, you know, like I haven't spoken to you in ages, like let's catch up. I feel like we're blah 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 blah. So like it normally does follow.
Well, you know which way it's gonna go depending on who it is.
Yeah, and when people just say hey, like, tell me what you want.
You're wasting both of our times here.
Wasted both of our times. I do want to. Well, I know we're going to repeat because we've talked about this before.
I know, but it's so annoying.
But it's so annoying, and it's like I know they want something, and then I have to like pull it out of them.
I know, it's your responsibility then.
Why is it my responsibility to pull it out of you now?
Yeah.
I really wish you would just say, hey, how you doing? Here's this thing. Yeah. Can you help?
That's the perfect way to do it. Just be like, hey, how's it going? Sorry to bother you. You don't have to even say that, but like you just have to preface it with something and then go into it, but make it sound reasonable.
And honestly, don't even preface it. Just say, hey, can you help with this thing? Like I'm at work. I'm expecting to be asked to do my job.
Yeah. If they're not expecting it, if I wasn't expecting it, I'd be like, oh, and I hadn't talked to this person in a while, I'd be like, hey, how are you? And then go straight, like not even in separate messages, but in the same line.
Same. Yeah.
Not like separate. I don't need two pings for the same thing. Just put it all in the one line, and then they're not kind of like wondering what you're messaging about, and it gets things done quicker.
But the other part of it is that, and this is probably will also segue into like adulting at work, like being an adult at work, is that they'll do the hi and they're like, hi, how are you? And at a certain point, I will have to say,
what do you want?
So what can I help you with? Right. And I'm there trying to find the nicest way to say, what do you want? Without saying, what do you want? Because I need to know what you want so that I can help you. But people will wait and they'll say, oh, hey, like, I'm good. How are you? Oh, I'm good. How are you? Like, how have you been? Oh, great. How's your day been? Oh, it's been good. And there'll be like silence. And I'll be like,
Jesus Christ, just
so how can I help you?
It's pulling teeth.
And I just think that like that makes me have to like balance between how do I say this in the nicest way possible when I just want to say, I just literally tell me what you want. When you are navigating the workplace, and this happens a lot, and there's a reason, there's one reasonable reason that this happens, and as a manager it is your responsibility to train it out of your staff, is power imbalance. So I have gotten it a lot where a more junior person says hi, like, you know, sorry to bother, and they wait, and I'm very like forward about saying like, 1, you never bother me, 2, never be sorry for interrupting me, 3, like, please feel free to just tell me what you need. And I'll say like, it's actually very helpful to me if you can like tell me what you need straight off the bat so that I can like prioritize it in my day. It actually makes my job, and so I'll phrase it like, you know, I'll frame it like, it makes my job so much easier and you're really helping me out if you can do this. And they get it and they move on, and that's great. But like one of the reasons it does happen is the power imbalance, where people are like afraid to ask for something and they're waiting to be asked, what is there something I can help you with? And so that is when it does happen. But again, as a manager, you can like get rid of that very quickly just by having a conversation.
But the way you positioned it there is so reasonable and makes sense and
true.
It's true, honestly. So you're really helping them out, but you didn't come at it from a negative or, you know, scolding type of way. It was more like, this is gonna, because some people would, but like, you know, that good people leadership is kind of like saying it in a way that motivates them and they feel better about it, and they're like, okay, and then they go forward being better at asking for things.
But if it's like somebody you work with or somebody you already know, or someone that's more senior than you as well. Sorry, no excuse. You should know better.
Oh, honestly, at this age or this stage in the game or whatever it is, yeah, you should have learned the basic skills of communication.
Yeah.
But it's something that we do take for granted, you know, good communication skills.
Yeah. And I think it's really important. I think it's really, really important in the workplace. And I think as an adult in the workplace, like you do have to develop those skills, and you have to think about how, you know, you're helping other people around you do their job. Like fundamentally that's it, or at least from my point of view, my job. It's like, how do I comport myself such that everybody else feels freer to do what they need to be doing, so that I don't like become a barrier to that in some way. You know, one of the kind of little side quests, one of the interesting ways I had a conversation about this recently, I was chatting to somebody about job titles, and you know, we're kind of like it doesn't really, like, that person didn't really care about job titles. Like, okay, I don't care what you call me, like, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, that's great, but a lot of the time job title isn't for you. The job title is for all of the people you're going to interact with, so they get context about why you're talking to them.
Yes.
So it's okay that you don't care about a job title. However, like, if you're going to be interacting with these certain audiences, there's a job title that we might want to assign to you, and maybe that's a different one for different situations. So that they understand the context under which that, like, you're communicating with them, or you know, you want to send a certain message, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because sometimes it's not about you. Like, sometimes it's about, like, what you're putting out there to the people that you're interacting with at work, and what that means for them, right?
The context for them.
Yeah,
that's true.
And that's kind of how I think about communication, is like, how are you providing the best context for the people around you? Like, it's not like, it's not about you. Like, how are you helping other people?
That it's about me, but rather it's, you know, about making everybody work together better by knowing, you know, who's who and who's doing what.
So if you're going to someone and you're just saying, oh, I'll just say hi, how are you, and start the conversation, it's like, okay, but you're doing that because that's making you feel comfortable, but you're hindering the other person. So think about the communication, about how you can best, like, help the other person that you're communicating with.
More clear about what you're doing, and more transparent, so the other person's not spiraling like, oh my god, what do they want? Because if you get a message from somebody who's higher up than you that says hi, but no context or whatever,
like,
then
oh my god, I'm getting fired.
Oh dear god. So putting it all out there in the first message is like a really good way to just, you know, stop any ambiguity that might ensue. So messaging is it shouldn't be complicated, but it is very nuanced.
But it is.
It shouldn't be.
That's a great, like, ideally it shouldn't be complicated. Realistically, it is, and you do have to think about it.
Because you're dealing with so many different personalities and ways of thinking and things like that.
Yeah, and you have to understand how power balances work, or imbalances work in the workplace. You have to communicate accordingly. You have to your point, we have to consider other personalities. Sure, would it be nice to not have to do that? Yeah, but that's not realistic.
Perfect world, it'd be nice in your life to do that.
You'll be better at your job if you can develop good communication skills. And so, like, you were saying, like, even like as a senior person, if you are in any kind of leadership position, right, at any level, and you're communicating to someone that you have some sort of, like, responsibility or accountability over, and you message them, you do sometimes have to go the extra mile to be clear on things. So I can throw, you know, a meeting on someone's, like, calendar, be like, hey, let's chat, and that would be fine. But if someone's working for me and I just and I don't normally do that, and I throw a meeting on their calendar, I would always follow it up with a message, say, hey, I just want to chat about this on this, I hope this time works for you. Now normally I wouldn't go to that extra effort, because it's like, the calendar's there, I know they're free, like, we'll just chat. It's like, I'm trying to give them context in case they need to prepare, but then also, like, alleviate any anxiety. So, you know,
it's like empathy, though,
Alyssa,
for what
as we both
feeling.
Know, doing HR, every time she messages somebody,
especially
when I was working with her, especially someone from HR, she's like, hey, you know, and she wants to chat to someone about something. She always says, hey, I want to chat to you about X. This is not a bad thing. You're not getting, and sometimes she's even with people she knows a bit better.
You're not getting fired.
You're not getting fired. I actually just want your opinion on something. Let's meet on this day? Because she understands, like, what her presence does to people just by the nature of her job and her title and, like, all of those kind of things.
It's a simple thing that you can do to just really, like, help somebody out and not cause them to spiral into an absolute meltdown.
And so it's empathy, right? Like, it's under, like, empathy is not just, like, sympathy, right? I think some people mistake
No,
empathy for sympathy, like of just like feeling sorry for people and being mindful of
no.
their feelings. It's not just that. Empathy is about understanding context that you're in, understanding how context appears to other people, and being
Their
able to
perspective.
view a situation from their perspective and then like
Yeah.
adjust accordingly to get like the best outcome that you're trying to get.
Yeah, exactly. It's such a simple idea. And how hard is it to think, well, this person is doing X, Y, and Z. How would I feel? Maybe I should do this or something. Just, think about it, like how would you feel in that situation and what would
Yeah.
you want somebody to do to you?
Yeah.
Speaking of that, a thing that annoys me about communications so I use Teams mostly in any jobs that I've ever been in. But when you are in a call and people insist in messaging you, I find so rude. Like I do it sometimes by accident, and then if somebody is so if I've been messaging them when they're online, and then suddenly they switch into a call, and I like reply to them, I always respond like afterwards, like sorry, I didn't realize you were in a call or whatever. But there are some people who will not see in a call or presenting as maybe I should message them right now, but they do anyway. And I think there should be some etiquette around that, whether or not you should be able to message them. When I worked in Intel, they had the culture across the organization was to write IM ? So like instant message ? So they would never just message straight away and launch into what they were doing. They would check first if you were available to chat.
Interesting.
And everybody, literally everybody in the organization did it. And I thought it was such a good thing. I know like it does kind of slow things down, but it does give people a bit of leeway, if they're not able to respond right away, or, they're online, but they're focusing or something. I thought it was a really good thing, especially in the world of people messaging when you're in a call or you're presenting and distracting you and things like that.
Yeah, that's interesting. So like, I do think that is good. I'm going to give you another perspective on it. I think the answer is decide what you want your company to be and then communicate that so everybody does it. But let me give you another perspective. When you're setting up a remote environment where people are going to work asynchronously, so people on multiple time zones, right, working all over the place. I've been in companies where the etiquette was, and very explicitly, like it was talked about, is that you as an individual are responsible for setting your like do not disturbs. So if you are presenting, if you're in a meeting, set it up so that you will not receive notifications. When you're in a meeting or presenting, like, and set your do not disturb so that you don't get pinged with stuff when you're not working, right? And then outside of that, like the messaging system is a free for all. So you message like when you need to about stuff, and like there be, you might expect. Like there would be a reasonable time you would expect a response, like a business day or something, right? You message whenever you want, and then your individual, you are responsible for setting the barriers around when you see it or when you choose to see it. And so therefore people could message you anytime you want, but like you have to make sure you have your like do not disturb, so like no notifications and all that stuff set up. Because some people might only have like a couple of hours of overlap in the day, or not at all, or they're in meetings or whatever. And so you kind of needed to go there anyway.
Send them an email.
No. See, these working things, you'd never use email internally. There's no need to do anything.
Oh, internally, yeah, I know it slows things down. I find when you're doing something like share, like working on something like a document or whatever, and there's lots of people on it, you need emails. But if you're just kind of chatting to somebody, in my work anyway, I don't know.
I think it depends on how your shared drives are set up.
Yeah,
because we're the way, and again, the ones, and these are mainly startups, right? Is like you have your shared drives, all your documents are kept in your shared drive. You don't, if there's a document that at any point someone needs to like read it or edit it, you don't put it on your drive, you put it on the company shared drive. And so people collaborate in it, and you add comments, and you get comments from it. You'd never email it around or use email at all.
We use email, but like put the link to the shared drive in it, and then they'll go into it and work on it. There's very few places that I've ever worked where people would be in a group chat or something and talking about something.
Throw the link into Slack of like,
I've never used
this is the
Slack.
document we're working on. Well, our teams. This is the document we're working on, and then people just work in the document in the comments.
Even with like executives and things.
Everybody, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that
yeah.
I don't think maybe in tech or cybersecurity it's more prevalent, but definitely not in like just like not normal, but like
SMBs,
standard like consulting firms or banks or anything like that. It's email first. It definitely is, and it is something that probably needs to be improved or modernized a little bit, and people being less kind of thinking that a message is inappropriate to a senior person. I find that, if someone said message them on Teams, I'd feel a bit weird about that.
Oh, would you?
Yeah. It's the culture, it's the mindset, in some places that have been around for so long, and
I
more
guess.
senior people are used to email rather than the kind of more digital forward things.
Yeah. See, any of the places I worked at, and including the current crowd I'm working with, they're, the messaging system, Slack or Teams, right?
Yeah.
Is the great equalizer. So everybody's in there. Everybody's in all the channels. Like,
it's great
channels.
It's a great way to
Everybody's
do
in
it.
there. So you never feel weird about messaging anybody, because it's just like a great equalizer.
Yeah.
You don't email people internally because there's no need. All collaboration happens on like a share drive. So share drive to Slack being a big thing, or in meetings, right?
Yeah.
And then you'd email people outside the company. That's it.
Yeah.
Which helps, it cuts down on email traffic, which is nice.
No, it's a good approach. And I don't know whether the mindset that like I would deal with is that, like a chief executive wouldn't want to be getting ping after ping after ping, but they could be on do not disturb. But generally the more senior people I work with are not, as digitally savvy as say younger people are. And they prefer the emails versus that. And
that's
it depends on the context or the industry you're in, the mindset, the culture of like what's what. And what's the best method to use it, because sometimes I'd be like, okay, that's an email thing, oh, that's a Teams thing, and just kind of there's an unspoken rule about what's what.
Yeah. Which is, I think this is why it's important to write it down. So like in any of the places I've worked in, it is written down what here are the tools we use, here's how we use them, here's the etiquette for like communicating with people, here's what's expected of you, here's what's expected of other people. And that's very, very explicit. Because I do think it's needed. Do you remember you were talking about, and like I said, it's unique for every company, right? You were talking about, when you're new in a company, like you're just not given a lot of context. This is how a lot of these contexts are given, which is like, here, read our communication policy, read the tools that we use and how we use them, blah, 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 right? That gives the context of, at least you know how to operate within the like norms that company has developed, right? But I think I've been like lucky to have mainly worked in tech companies where everybody's tech savvy. Right.
And expects to
and you're expected to have like a high literacy of the tools that you're using. Right. There's nobody that would be like, oh, I don't really know how to use Slack. And it's like, okay, well, learn.
Yeah. I mean, learn it out.
You know what I mean?
There's more of a propensity for tech companies to have digital tools like that are more efficient and things, whereas companies that have been around for a long, long time, they've got the systems in place. Email is just a feature of, the private sector in a lot of companies. It's just that's the way it is. And it's because we're not dealing with tech, it's not forefront in their mind, whereas if you're in a tech company, you want to have the most efficient, the best technology, blah 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 blah, but it's quickest. And it's kind of a bit of a inertia as well,
a little bit, because I think it's things like, if I was like, oh, like I want to talk about this event, or I had this idea about this, and I'll send an email and like, oh, that's great, let me copy on this person, and then and I'm like, that's what I could just have had a public channel that's for something, I don't know, product, and said, hey, like I was thinking about this thing, and then anybody who's in that channel or even sees that channel can just contribute to that conversation. They don't need to wait to be asked. And you can ask people specifically if you want to, of course, but like, it's just all there, and so it's very like, it's a lot snappier, it's quicker, and people just make decisions quicker, I think. Which I think is necessary in startups because of like how quickly you're meant to be able to work and advance.
You can't be waiting for emails and waiting for people to respond, or
like it's just different expectations, right?
There's more of a urgency to, I think, like messaging things. Not an urgency, but the expectation is more that you can respond sooner rather than later. But emails you can leave for hours and not respond to because you're like, oh, I didn't see that, or blah 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 blah. But it's more efficient.
Because again, in most places I work, like Slack or Teams, and it's normally Slack, like when you're working, so within your working hours, you are expected to be fairly on top of it. But you'd check your email maybe twice a day.
Exactly. Yeah, you've mentioned that before, actually.
Yeah. Unless you were specifically in like a very externally, focused
role where you're emailing clients and things. It depends on the company and the 100%, the culture. I mean, some of the old-fashioned companies could do with a bit of overhaul, in digital, but it takes so long to change the systems, and it's a big undertaking. And then it's like, oh, it's too much, we won't do it. We'll just continue the way we are. So I think, there is things that they could take from the companies that, startups that we work with and things like that, and the way you've been working with the recent company that you could take in and implement even just in a little way to make things a bit more efficient. But look, we could talk about it for hours and hours and hours.
100%. I think the TLDR is like, write it down.
Yeah,
I
document
think people don't do like, oh, people should just know or figure it out. It's like, no, just write it down. Make it easier on everybody. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Leave no ambiguity to anything.
No.
Yeah.
Write down what you do. Send it to everybody. Be like, this is what we do.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's your operations expertise.
There you go now.
That's why they pay you the big bucks.
That's the entire job. Write it down. Tell people about it.
And use Slack and don't email internally. Perfect. Well, sure. We'll leave it at that today.
I think I already like talked about my pet peeves within that.
Yeah,
which
me too.
The remaining one is like, don't just say hi. Just ask me. Tell me what you want.
Exactly. If anything anyone takes away from this today is, don't put it on the person you're asking to come back to you to find out what you want.
Yeah, don't give them 2 jobs, right?
Make it as easy for them to help you, and then they'll also like you more if you do.
They will like you more.
Respect you more too.
Yeah. There's no downside.
No downside at all. Okay. Right, we'll continue on workplace things.
Yeah.
Next week.
We have more of this to talk about, and I think we'll do another
unlimited amount, perpetual amount of things. All right. Okay. All right. Bye.